They were only 9 and 13 when the world changed for them. Artie was the older sister, smart, responsible, always looking out for her little brother, Ravi. He was quiet, shy, and had the kind of eyes that always looked like they were asking, "Will everything be okay?" It used to be okay. Their parents weren't rich, but they were loving. Their small house was full of warmth and noisy dinners, old stories, and dreams of a better future. But everything shattered one rainy evening. Their father collapsed while returning from his shift at the factory. Heart failure, they said. Too much stress. Too little rest. The next month, their mother fell seriously ill. Her body just gave up after years of hardship. Within 6 months, Artie and Ravi were orphans. No relatives came forward. No neighbors offered anything more than pity. So Artie stepped up. At just 13, she became the mother, the father, and the caretaker of her little world. Ravi, the government gave them a tiny pension. Not enough to live, just enough to survive. Every morning, Artie would pack some rice and pickle into an old steel tiffin, walk Ravi to school, then go clean 2 homes in the neighborhood. In the evening, she'd sell snacks near the bus stop. Sometimes she'd study by lamplight after Ravi slept. She never complained. Ravi noticed the blisters on her hands, the cracks in her feet, the way she skipped meals, saying she wasn't hungry. He knew she was lying. One night, he cried silently into his pillow, wishing he'd grow up faster, to help her, to take away her pain. As years passed, Artie's determination only grew stronger. She enrolled herself in night school, kept cleaning, cooking, earning, saving every rupee she could. Ravi, inspired by her grit, studied harder than ever. He'd wake up before dawn to deliver newspapers, and in the evenings, he'd help his sister with her snack stall. They had no weekends, no holidays, no celebrations, but they had each other. And somehow, that was enough. Then came a day Ravi would never forget. He was 17. Artie had saved enough to buy a second-hand sewing machine. She started stitching blouses and tailoring clothes from home, adding a new income stream. And on that very same day, Ravi's teacher called her to school. "I've been teaching for 20 years, the teacher said, eyes glistening. "But your brother is one of the brightest students I've ever seen. He's been selected for a full scholarship to a top engineering college." Artie broke down in tears, not because she was sad, but because, for the first time, she saw a door open, a door they had both been knocking on for years. Ravi left for college, heart-heavy, but filled with hope. He called every day. She sent food parcels, letters, tiny amounts of money, still treated him like the little boy who needed her. For years passed, and when Ravi returned home, he wasn't a shy boy anymore. He was an engineer, with a job offer that could change their lives. The first thing he did? He took Artie to a showroom and bought her a brand new sewing machine. Then he found a small shop space and turned her side hustle into a boutique, with her name on the board, Artie's Stitch and Style. For the first time in years, Artie smiled without worry behind her eyes. Years went by. Artie's boutique became one of the most trusted in their area. Ravi rose to become a project manager in a top firm, and together they rebuilt the life they had once lost. No luxury, no mansions, but peace, pride, and a bond that even fate couldn't break. One evening, as they sat on the old rooftop where they used to watch stars during power cuts, Ravi looked at her and said, "Didi, people say parents shape your future, but for me it was always you." Artie smiled and replied, "Maybe I was just doing what Ma and Baba would have wanted, protecting their little boy." They didn't grow up with everything, but they grew up with enough. Enough love, enough courage, enough to rise. Because sometimes family isn't about what you have, it's about what you give. And Artie gave everything, so Ravi could become everything. Years passed, and life settled into a rhythm. Ravi got married. Artie insisted on doing all the stitching for the wedding herself. Not just to save money, but because she wanted her love to be woven into every thread. At the wedding, someone asked her, "You must be proud of your brother." She smiled gently and said, "He's not just my brother. He's my life's work." Time didn't slow down. Ravi bought a new home, a simple, beautiful place where he made sure Artie had the biggest room and the softest bed. She had never asked for it. She never asked for anything. But he remembered everything. She still ran her boutique, now with 3 girls working under her, girls from similar struggles. She didn't just teach them tailoring. She taught them dignity, because she knew what it felt like to be overlooked, underestimated, invisible. She made sure no one around her ever felt that way again. One night, Ravi's daughter, barely 10 years old, came to him with a school assignment. Write about your biggest hero. She wrote one word. Bua. Aunt. When Ravi read it, he couldn't stop the tears. He realized Artie's strength wasn't just in what she had done for him. It was in how her courage had rippled through generations. Artie, now older and slower, still sat by the window every morning, sewing quietly as the sun poured in. One evening, Ravi sat beside her with 2 cups of tea. Do you ever regret not living your own life? He asked gently. She looked at him, amused. You are my life, Ravi. You always were. I didn't give anything up. I just chose what mattered more. Not every hero wears a cape. Some wear old saris, with hands calloused from years of stitching broken pieces into something whole. Some don't ask for applause. They only ask for the people they love to succeed. Artie was never in the spotlight. She was the light behind it. And Ravi? He carried that light forward, in his work, in his family, in his heart, because in the end, their story wasn't about money, or status, or success. It was about loyalty, sacrifice, and love that never needed to be spoken, because it was lived every single day, together. Years continued to pass, like pages turning in a well-loved book. Artie's hair turned silver. Her steps slowed, but her presence remained the same, warm, steady, unshakable. She no longer stitched as fast as she used to. Her hands, once full of calluses from years of hard work, now trembled slightly as she held a thread. Yet, she still opened the boutique every morning, not because she had to, but because it gave her purpose. Her little shop wasn't just a business. It was a home for others like her, girls with nowhere to go, mothers abandoned, widows forgotten. She took them in, taught them the same way life had taught her, with patience, with quiet strength. Ravi often said, she built more than a business, she built a family,